to another episode of Awaken Leadership. Today, we are talking about what happens when the old ways of succeeding stop working, when working longer, doing it all, and overextending no longer gives the results you want. Leadership calls us to step into something deeper, more authentic, and sustainable. I'm especially thrilled to welcome Heidi Hauer, holistic executive coach, author, and speaker who guides leaders to blend professional success with well-being and purpose. With over 20 years in corporate leadership and communications across global organizations, Heidi helps leaders reconnect with their intuition, clarity, and inner strength so they can lead from an aligned rather than exhausted place. Heidi, it's such a joy to have you here. How are you
Thank you so
feeling today?
much. It's wonderful that I've had this invitation. So the event we met was really magical, and the conversation we had afterwards was brilliant. So it's wonderful to extend that conversation here with you, and give other opportunities as well to listen in. So, how do I feel right now? Well, it's a couple of days before Christmas. I'm really excited about Christmas. I love Christmas, and I'm all, let's say, busy and bubbly and excited. So that's the energy I'm in today.
It's wonderful that you are going to spend Christmas back in your hometown and surrounded with your family and friends. And I would love to hear from you a little bit of the story of who is the woman behind this, let's say, the even the book, the
The book,
kingdom
yes.
within, right? I started to read it. It's been I don't know if you can see here. I'm at page 93. I'm really
93,
doing
good.
really doing well, and I love what you've created a program for yourself and for others, and I would love to hear from you. Let's say what was missing. What was missing in your life, and who was Heidi before the book and
Well, yeah, that's
before the
a very good
journey?
question. Who was I before the realization that there are other things in life? To some extent, I had the perfect life. So I had a wonderful job. I was traveling internationally. I had lived in London, in Brussels, Vienna, and then Zurich. So it was all a, let's say, high-flying career, jet-setting at the weekend to friends' weddings across Europe. So I was for some time full of energy, really enjoying that life. Everything was or felt abundant, and things were from one adventure to the next, things were really exciting. And I had a lot of ambition. I wanted to prove myself, not necessarily for others or to the world or to my parents, as it sometimes happens. I really wanted to prove myself for me, or to see how far can I go, how far can I push the envelope. And at the age of 10, I already said to my parents, I'm going to live in London one day. So this international pull was always super important to me. And I knew to get out of my hometown to go into London and make it there means I have to do something special, or being very good at what I was doing, and being far more bolder in terms of applying to jobs that are maybe even outside my scope geographically, but also outside my experience. So I was in that full, let's say, bold, young, full of energy move. And I loved it. I loved it to a large degree. But at the same time, there was also the moment when I sometimes felt more exhausted, or when I realized, this is the fast track. I'm like full speed on the motorway, and I'm not allowing myself to really notice what's happening, connecting it with myself, feeling into myself. Back then, this wasn't really something that was on my daily agenda. And then, very unexpectedly, my father passed away when I was 26. And so that was really the first time in my life where I was called to stop and breathe and see that life has also so many different other dimensions. So there was a lot of, let's say, spiritual experiences that I encountered at that moment. And that was a window that opened, a window that I was very excited to look through, step through, find out more. So there was a curiosity in me to see what else is there apart from, let's say, the glamorous, successful career. And so that was the beginning of my, let's say, openness to things like yoga, meditation. But of course, it was not only fueled by curiosity, it was also fueled by pain because that loss was felt really severe and really shattered somehow my self-belief and who I am and where is my stability, where's my grounding. So all of that was gone. And so I knew I needed to do something else. But of course, I mean, we have habits, we have patterns, we have visions and dreams. So I continued the path of pushing in my career, living internationally, and although I was more open and started therapy and things like that, I was still on the go, go, go mode. And and then I remember there was a business trip where in the morning before breakfast, I really had a stomach cramp, something where like really like someone hit me nearly in the stomach. It felt really painful. And I was confused and I thought, why, how can I, what should one do about that? What is that? I have no idea. And ignorant or let's say focused as I was back then, I just swallowed a painkiller and thought, it's going to go away anyway. I mean, what can one do with something like that? And then a friend of mine, she stayed at a spa and for a week and said if I wanted to stop by and be with her there for a couple of days or for a weekend. And I thought, that's a nice idea. Spa is a good idea. And it was very about holistic health. And they also had a nutritionist there. And I thought, maybe it has something to do with that I'm eating the wrong things. So I did a lactose and fructose intolerance test, and then the alarm bells went off. They said, "Oh my God, we can't even test you. Your KPIs or values are far too high. It's impossible to really give you a good assessment. You need to start other tests." And then I did that, a little bit pissed off, to be honest, because I wanted to have this lovely weekend with massage and enjoyment. And then a doctor said to me whether I know how severe my condition is and that I really needed to take a sick leave. And I looked at him totally confused because I thought, I'm really doing my best to pushing life forward and to working hard and to making it happen. And this isn't that what life is about? Isn't that like conquering the challenge? And yes, there will be challenges. I'm stronger. So what does he mean? And then he said, well, if you don't take a sick leave, and I said, I'm far too busy. I mean, it's a nice idea. Sick leave is a good, but it's not for me. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
take it, you know, I have too many things on my agenda. And then he smiled at me, but more like, I don't know, old father who somehow um, realized I don't get it. He said to me, well, if you're not taking a break now, we might see each other in 6 months in hospital. And that was quite alarming. And I thought, should I take that serious or is he just exaggerating? What's wrong with this guy anyway? And even then, it took me 2 months to somehow take that serious. And I then took 3 weeks off. I mean, with hindsight, it was anyway a small amount of time. And I felt, okay, let's do this. Let's get better in the fastest possible time. I don't like being unwell. And I was driving there and I thought, maybe I'm also lucky. Maybe I'm also protected and blessed because what if this whole thing would have been more severe? Or what if I don't have an option? Now I still felt I had a little bit of an option to somehow say when I wanted to take it off, take that time off. And the other thing that dawned on me was, what if they would have fired me? And I mean, who would I feel that I am if I'm driving to that place? And I thought, actually, 80% of my self-definition is about the job, the role that I have, the way that I can live my life through that job. And I thought, that's pretty sad. And maybe I should look into changing that because that's actually quite dangerous. If you bet on all the things to go right, because what if it doesn't? And maybe life is more than just work.
I
So,
remember
yes,
listening to one of your podcasts in which you were revealing um, your intensity around work, and you call it workaholism, or how's it called? Sorry,
workaholism. Yes, because it
workaholism.
had
Yeah,
a sort of a addiction to it, or a
addiction to it. Yeah. And when did you discover that? So, in the midst of all these searches, did you suddenly discover I'm doing too much. I'm pushing too hard. I'm always on, and probably I enjoy it. I'm on the wave. It's fun. It's yeah, it feels that thrill, right? Of the rush of doing so much stuff. And so, on one side, when did you discover? And when you did you see any impact on your emotional, mental, physical? You already started to mention that the doctors were giving you signs, but have you discovered anything on your own, or did you really need the doctors, the tests to show you there's something is going on? Were there any other
yeah.
signs, maybe silent signs that you were not listening to before?
I mean, excellent question. And to this moment, or when I then arrived at this retreat or holistic health center, I really was forced to reflect. And because, of course, you have treatments during the day, but I was off work, so I should also not work, of course. And so there was a lot of time that I had, and I realized actually I had lost quite a lot of weight, and it somehow didn't occur to me that this was an issue. I had skin that was really not looking the way it should look when you're healthy and in your early 30s. Sleep was good at that stage, but there was an inner drive that was hard to calm down. So this constantly being on was already the habit in itself, and sometimes then I was so exhausted at the weekends that all I was doing was sleeping, eating something healthy, working a little bit, but then going to bed again so that I could really be on again on Monday morning. So, and I was actually shocked to see that I was so in my tunnel vision that I hadn't realized the bigger picture or taken those, let's say, signs into consideration. So, and I remember I was sitting at a lunch because my digestion was then completely blocked. I had leaky gut system, which also means you have to be super careful about what you eat. And at one point, it was really a hot potato and some flaxseed oils. And I was sitting there and looking at that, and I thought, shouldn't I cry or laugh, or
Mm.
how did I take my life so far? Is that everything do I have to start from the beginning? I really felt like a baby where you have to learn to eat again. And I thought this is such an irony of destiny to some extent because I wanted to change the world. I wanted to be go out and express myself and do good things and with good people. And I thought, and now the universe is throwing me back to the very beginning. Eating a potato and seeing whether I can digest it or not is like, this is the craziest thing. And I thought, okay, resistance is obviously not going to help. I mean, that was more my rational mind saying, okay, I can now fight it or I can jump on that healing journey. And then I decided, okay, let's do something about this. Whether I want it or not, I will get to like it if I engage here. And then I started to embrace this more and more. And I changed the way I was getting up in the morning. I included breakfast, like my entire daily routine changed. And of course, it centered at that time a lot around food in terms of what type of food is good for me and when, and which type of cooking is good. But then, of course, those questions extended to far more.
Yeah.
And you also questioned or what kind of experience brought me or had then positive consequences. And I remember that's another story to when I decided to do a 4-day silent retreat, which of course, having been a spokesperson for a company, having worked in communication, I mean, a silent retreat is like the craziest of all ideas. But always up for a challenge, obviously. I thought, okay, let's do this. And in my typical, I had what was it, an Audi A4 at that time, and it was fully packed with, for those only 4 days, I had a trolley and 4 bags, and like with different cashmere sweaters because of in every meditation session, I wanted to wear something different. I mean, it's totally ridiculous. I really felt like this, a Sex and the City scene where I'm like totally in my big city girl outfit. And then timing it to get to the silent retreat exactly the minute that it will start, because I mean, I don't have time to waste, don't I? So, and then I arrived at that parking space. I'll never forget that because it was winter, snow everywhere, and there was no retreat center. And I thought, oh no, I got the wrong address. And then I realized that this retreat center, holy moly, is up in the mountains, up the hill, and I need to, it's a 20 minutes walk. And I thought, with my trolley and my bags, and I'm already on time now. Now you expect me to walk through the snow. This is ridiculous. And but at the same time, I realized that's probably the thing that I need to learn. So first, the challenge was to pack what is really essential that I can carry this through the
Yeah.
snow. And then as I was walking up, I thought, okay, maybe it's time to slow down a little bit here. 2 days out of those four, I was totally in my brain still of, oh, I need to do this, I need to send an email to that, or I forgot to message her, or that project. How am I going to approach this project? Yeah, that's a good idea. So in every break, I was going back to my journal and writing all those thoughts down. And on day 3, I actually really arrived. I was like, oh, now this is how it's supposed to feel.
Yeah.
It's not a cinema in my mind. It's a full body experience in a sense that my nervous system relaxes, I'm calmer. And on day 4, I even managed to not have thoughts at some times. So really like totally in the Zen mode. And that was amazing. And I tell you, there's 1 or 2 days where I really was grounding. They had an effect for the next 6 to 12 months even. So
Yeah.
this experience was so profound that the way I was showing up at work had completely shifted. So
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing this. The story repeats itself so many times when also when I talk to clients and even from my own experience. that we want these results really, really fast. Whatever. Can I have it now and I can go home in the first day? Can I get silence quickly and go rushing back to my busy life? And also that the part where you said like, oh, I timed it really, really nice because I'm so busy. I don't have time for myself. So I will arrive right on time and then I'll, just so I don't miss a thing. But how beautiful that the universe has given you such opportunities in the first place when you were talking about that the retreat where you went with your friend. How lucky were you to discover
Mm,
it
yeah,
while you were still missing all those signs
that's true.
before,
Yes.
and also the silence and the reflection, self-reflection time to recognize, wow, there were some things happening while I wasn't watching. And also with the silent retreat that you chose, thank God it was 4 days.
And not just two, yes.
You can get to benefit from it for months to
Yeah.
come. So now, having had all this experience, you've been through a lot, and you've been through your own transformation. The book in itself, it's also an example of your transformation. What would you say to the people who are still in the middle of it all? They are still running in the hamster wheel. They are still trying to do more, faster, better, and never feel like it's enough. What will be a first step, let's say, that you will recommend for shifting from being rentless to being conscious in our approach?
Mm. I mean, one realization helped me a lot. A woman once said to me, even when you die, you'll have an open to-do list.
Hmm.
So the idea of I have to tick all those boxes and finish my to-do list at the end of the day, and only then I'm allowed to be proud of myself, or only then it will never happen, or there is always more that you could do. And so realizing that I can't possibly be the victim of my to-do list, or trying to live up to other people's expectations that have nothing to do with me. So I really somehow had to flip it upside down and say, it all starts with me. I'm the one who decides which call I'm returning. I'm the one who decides which unread emails. Simply ignoring the most successful people, mainly guys, I have to say, I know have had thousands and thousands of unread emails and were hugely successful. So I thought, okay, this measurement of I have to deliver and do it all, and an empty inbox is the optimum space of you, like criteria of you doing it right. It's just simply not true. And understanding that the connection with me is far more important than what's happening on the outside world. So meditation session in the morning, and a micro break around lunchtime. Those mini steps and mini changes, and always checking in with yourself. How do I feel right now? What do I need? And of course, in a work environment, it can only be so much that you get. But even having that glass of water, having an additional, I don't know, a mini break, and looking outside the window, enjoying, I don't know, some green scenery, can bring you back into, oh, I can feel myself. Because that's what I never did. I was perfect, let's say, I was compliant with everything that I wanted me to do and others wanted me to do. So it's about building up that connection with yourself. And yes, using a lot of different therapies as well. So that's the good side of my curiosity. I was then trying out every tip that anyone gave me, whether that was from craniosacral, some
Kinesiology.
yes. Um, then even I had an oral chirurgy thing. So because I'm so interested in all of that, I just tried it all. And some things worked better for me than others. And interestingly, in parallel, I was also doing business coaching. And there were weeks when I felt, all of those 5 people who are currently working on me, around me, for me, they're saying the same thing, but in a very different,
Different
of
way.
course, context with a very different language as well. Sometimes it's through symbols or stories, and then I thought, yes, I'm getting the message slowly but surely. I'm listening. I'm learning to listen and to connect the dots.
Yeah, so true that sometimes we have to hear it from multiple sources
Yes.
to become aware and accept that the message is loud and clear. It's just us that don't want to
Yeah.
really take it or take an action. We have time for one more question, and I want to bring us back to the book because I'm at the chapter that is talking about scheduling a date with your dreams, and I'm
Hmm.
curious how would this help our listeners in applying something like this in their own leadership, and how could that improve their life by scheduling a date with their dreams?
I've learned on my journey that if you always wait to be ready to start, it will never happen. So deciding there is a chunk of the time during the week, if that's 2 hours on a Friday morning or 30 minutes on a Sunday evening, whatever it is, it's a sign to yourself, or it really sends a strong message. I'm taking my dream serious. And whether that then means you are journaling, you're drawing something, you're reading something, or you are actively really working on your side hustle, that's then up for your own decision, or also wherever you are in which stage of life, but to create a container for it. Because that's also what I've, of course, learned through management. What you don't make time for will never happen. So, being good in terms of your time management is step number one, and saying, my dreams are important and I think they should be, are is a good starting point. And even if you don't know yet what your dreams are, to say, I have that hour a week where I'm pondering on it, where I'm daydreaming, where I'm thinking, how would I love to work, in which environment, or that really helps. That really, really helps. And I've set up my business as also as a side hustle, and for me, this date with my dreams and really extend it to 3 evenings per week, where I really spent from 7 to 9. That was the window I gave to myself, 3 evenings a night, on, for example, writing the book, or having my first coaching clients, and that really helped to. And of course, you have to be self-disciplined, but I made a commitment or a contract to some extent with myself to say, at 7, I'm switching on into that dream dream mode, and that's a time that is really dedicated to increasing my life, or uplifting my life, and it really works wonders. So
Thanks so much for sharing this. I'm now very curious to hear what dream are you dreaming of and working on during your special time, the date with your dream. Do you have something? You have maybe a new book or any
yes,
new project coming up?
there is a second book in the making, and I've taken a bit of a break from working on it, but it somehow feels that 2026 is the right time
Mm.
to continue working on it. And the process of writing is transformative in its own
Yeah.
self. So, of course, nowadays with ChatGPT, we can say, it's not really about putting sentences together anymore, but it's that bringing a certain wisdom out into the world
Hmm.
from your own experience and knowledge. And I think that's the magic, that's the beauty of really how to bring that onto paper.
So I'm very excited to hear
Thank
about it
you.
when you want to reveal more or when you publish it. We'll look forward to reading it.
Thank
And
you.
thank you very much, Heidi, for the conversation today. Listening to you, it's clear that true leadership isn't about working harder or doing more. And it's about being present in your body and honoring your energy, leading from clarity,
Yeah,
and being really fully there for life, present for life,
exactly. Very true.
not letting it pass you by. So
Exactly. That's the main difference. Apart from just allowing life to take you to something, it's more about you create it from within. And especially as women, we are so connected with that source and we're so connected with that creative
yeah.
energy and flow that not using it would really be a shame. So, yeah,
Yeah, so we can encourage our listeners then to do more of that, to be more creative and to pay attention more to even what resonates right now, listening to our conversation to see if anything resonated as true. Being maybe more attentive to the signs of the body or the thoughts that are crossing our mind and the emotions that we are experiencing. And if you would like to learn more about Heidi's work, you can look up online. She has a website. She's present in social media. She has the book that I mentioned,
the queendom
The
within, yeah,
Queendom Within,
rewrite your
and
fairy tale and create your own happily ever after. So the idea was, of course, without the Prince Charming that some of us are waiting for, life can be wonderful, and we have the power to create all of that from within ourselves.
and so true. There's so much more power than we can even imagine. We just have to allow ourselves to dream big and
Exactly.
follow those dreams. So thank you, Heidi, very much. I'm deeply
Thank you.
grateful for your
Such an
energy
important
and
work
your
that you
wisdom.
do as well. So it's
Thank you.
sharing that on your platform is really important. It's a pleasure that we've had this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And to our listeners, thank you for being here and stepping into your leadership from the inside out. We will put Heidi's information into the episode notes. And yes, please remain with us for future episodes coming up.
Thank you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye.